In this hand, you're playing a $44 six max tournament. You have 8-9 of spades. Villain 28 limps in. It is on you in the cutoff. Would you like to fold, call, or raise? If you did want to raise here, how much did you want to raise to? We raised to 6 big blinds, and Villain 26 calls. Villain 28 folds. We see a flop of ace of diamonds, queen of clubs, 9 of diamonds. Villain 26 checks to us. It is on us. Would we like to check or bet? We check here. The turn is the 8 of clubs. Villain 26 checks. It is on us. Check or bet. We bet 7 big blinds, and we are called. The river is the king of spades. Villain 26 checks. It's on us. Would we like to check or bet? If you do want to bet here, how much do you want to bet? We bet 9 big blinds. This opponent calls, and we take down a 46 big blind pot. Now let's break down this hand, starting with the pre-flop raise. Now, many people here, to thin out the field, they make it 4 big blinds. That's not enough. That still gives people a really good price to call with the antes out there and all the money that's already out there. So you end up getting a big pot, which is not what you want. When somebody limps in a six max tournament from early position, that's likely to be a passive player. If it's a loose passive player, that's a gold mine. You want to play as many pots in position versus that player as possible before they go bust, and they will be going bust quickly. So you're trying to isolate them. So you take everything that's out there in the middle right now, which is about 3 big blinds. And since you're so deep stacked, you double it. You make it 6 big blinds. Now that looks like a larger raise to a lot of people who take poker seriously, but it won't look like a large raise to a loose recreational player. So you usually get them to call you out of position. Now, surprisingly, you do not get Villain 28 to call you here, but you do get Villain 26 to call you here out of position, which is a great result as well. Now, unfortunately, a lot of what they call you with is big cards, especially aces. So this board isn't the greatest for you. There's a lot of aces and queens in their range. So, however, this is one of the benefits of being in position. We are in position here. We look at the board and we go, you know what? I would like a 4-card flop this time. I don't want a 3-card flop. You get that option when everybody's checking to you when you're in position. That's a huge edge to get a 4-card flop whenever you want one. But if you see the first 3 cards and you like them, you go, nope, there's 3 betting rounds this time. You're controlling pot size or blowing up the pot size based on how much you like your hand. Always be in position as much as possible. And sure enough, we check here and we make 2 pair on the turn. Villain 26 checks to us. And now, what do we know about Villain 26's hand? Well, there's two flush draws out there, and there's straight draws as well, multiple straight draws. Most likely, if Villain 26 had two pair, a lot of the sets don't make sense because you would assume aces or queens would 3-bet pre-flop. Nines or eights don't make sense because we're blocking that. So two pairs, though, we got to think about. Does ace queen make much sense? Ace nine, ace eight? No, not really, because they probably would fire with all of those flush draws and straight draws out there because they would want to protect their hand and simultaneously get money from it. So two pairs don't make sense. Sets don't make sense. What does make sense? Well, the good pairs, do they make sense? Ace king likely would have 3-bet you pre-flop. So we can rule that out. Ace jack, does ace jack check here again, or would ace jack fire? Good question. But a lot of this is weak pairs trying to get to showdown. A lot of queens are trying to get to showdown here. So we fire what aces and what queens will call. Now on the river, we have a decision to make. We are trying to get really weak aces to call us on a very dangerous board. A queen, I don't think is going to call us one more time with that king coming out there. So we're mostly looking to get money from the people who can't fold the ace 2 suited, ace 3 suited, ace 4 suited, ace 5 suited, ace 6 suited, ace 10 off, ace jack off pre-flop. Not saying they should, but just people who can't do that. So what are they going to call on this daunting of a board? What are they going to call on this intimidating of board? This might be a situation where a half pot bet looks intimidating. So we secure the bet we know we can secure. Now, did you want to check back on that river? If you wanted to bet half pot because you thought an ace never folds ever because they just can't believe they're beat, fine. If you wanted to bet bigger, that's fine. If you wanted to bet 9 big blinds, that's fine. If you wanted to bet half pot, that's fine. If you bet something, that's a great sign. What you don't want to get in the habit of doing is checking back whenever you're slightly squeamish, because that can become a bad habit. When you're fairly sure you have the best hand, go ahead and value bet. 9 big blinds is a lot. You might not be making 9 big blinds for 100 hands. You can secure that pretty easily right now. The river bets are always much bigger than all the other bets because of how small they look in relation to the size of river pots. You can get paid right now. Don't dismiss that opportunity. Now, you might be saying, if I bet that small on that river, does it encourage a check raise? That's a fantastic question. Versus the vast majority of your opponents, no, they can't turn pairs into bluffs. Most likely what they check called you with on the turn was a pair. You're going to be fine. They're not going to be able to bluff enough on the river. As you move up, people are just more aggressive in general. You might see that more. But in a $44 tournament, you can get away with some really thin value bets. For more content like this, go to pokerheadrush.com. That website, one more time, pokerheadrush.com.